Hey everybody, Hanifa here with Kingswife Talk Podcast. Just want to say welcome, and today we're going to go over one of those topics that can hit home for some. We want to go ahead and go over why most women tend to stay in toxic relationships with men who mean them no good, but they will push away and not want to nourish those friendships with. It could be women. It could be another man. That could be platonic. They choose not to nourish or take from relationships that can help them be their best, but they'd rather be in cahoots and involved with that toxic man in that relationship, or that toxic woman in some relationships as well. First, we'll go over the things when it comes to friendships. 5 reasons why basically female friendships are important for health. And that is because you'll be able to have consistency, which when you both nourish the relationship, honesty, trust, love is very important. And also someone to hold your secrets. That's what a lot of real friends do, okay? Those are 5 things that can help keep a relationship strong, because when you're in trouble and you want to talk to someone, you want to be able to pick up the phone sometimes. I know we all go to God and people have different religious beliefs, but at the end of the day, there's nothing like having that person there with you, either physically that you can trust or over the phone that you can trust. And by us being in the 2020, some people even like to go back and forth and text with their best friends, with their buddies, Another thing that can actually tear friendships apart is the friendship is consistently one-sided, which means only one party of that two always is probably trying to get in contact with the other one, or always reaching out to the other one, and is never reciprocated, is never given back. So that can mess up a friendship there. They betray your trust. They don't keep your secrets. They are overly negative. You have little or nothing to talk about. A lot of times friendships diminish because other people kind of grow in certain areas. The other ones may stay there. So now you have nothing in common. They create or attract drama. That's a really good one. Also, we can say they are passive aggressive. You've ever met people like that? Yes, they do exist. They dismiss it when you raise a concern. Okay? When you raise a concern, they dismiss it. That's not a good friend. That's not a good friend at all. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you know exactly who you are as a person. That way you'll know what type of friendships you're looking for. Another thing that I learned along the way is that women who are in high profile positions, or women who are extremely busy, or women who are very successful, let's say it that way, they tend to be in relationships with men where the relationship can seem to be toxic. And I know you're like, why would a woman who's involved in so much and have so much going for herself can be involved in a toxic relationship? Well, let me tell you this. When someone wants to be the boss, they want to be the boss. And then sometimes in toxic relationships, the woman that's successful, that woman that's, as you can look on the outside, has it going on, she may need a relationship like that because she wants to be the boss in every area of her life. I know it can sound crazy, but it's the truth. There are a lot of women who put up with toxic relationships and toxic lovers because of the fact they would rather have a project, if that makes sense to you. Something or someone that they can feel like they're trying to change, or that they want to try to change. But a lot of times you can see it as if it doesn't work. So don't look at it as oh, my friend is choosing this man over me. No, your friend might have a project. She's trying to break that project down. She's trying to see if she can be the one that makes him to be something different than what he already is. She's trying to change him. Okay? That's one thing that I've learned doing my research is that women and men biologically have different responses to stress. Women who are stressed respond with a reaction called tend and befriend, which means they tend to nurture those around them and reach out to others. And some people do it to reach out to other women, but unfortunately, a lot of people reach out to men, and a lot of times those men could be toxic. They can be a listening ear, they can be this, they can be that, but yes, they want to get something in return from that woman. So that is another thing. If you're your friend's friend, you're not dicking your friend down, obviously. So that's another thing when it comes to like the sex and lusting and things like that. That comes into play. That messes with the chemicals in the brain. So now you've lost your friend to this no good man. So now you're wondering, what is going on? How did I get here? There is a way for people to understand why women date bad boys. And a lot of relationship experts explain why. So the best thing to do is for you to know exactly who you are. Okay? And if you're that type. But what I would definitely say is to make sure that you begin to try to nourish and help flourish relationships that you have. Every relationship in your life should be being watered. How you water flowers, you want to water relationships that you have in your life as well. If you're not able to do that and you don't have the time or the patience to do that, that is fine. There is nothing wrong with being a lone ranger. There's a lot of people that like to slide and be alone. There's a lot of people that like to hop friends and be around everybody. With this coronavirus going around, you want to be careful with that because you don't know if you're going to receive the virus and recover from it like a lot of millions of Americans have done. So you want to be careful with that, whatever country you're in. I know everybody that listens in is not from America, but whatever country you're in, you want to kind of like have your set pick of people, especially as we begin to go through this second round of COVID-19, which they're expecting the wintertime to hit really hard here in the United States. So just be careful and be mindful of those who you be around, because you never know who else they're being around, if that makes sense. Well, it does, because we know this is a virus that is transferred from person to person. So go ahead and let that homegirl learn and the way she needs to learn with dealing with that man. Every dog has their day, as we can say. But do not take it personal if you notice that someone is taking up with a man that is toxic and you know that it's not good. They have to go through this walk on their own. There is nothing you can say. A lot of times there's even nothing you can do. I was just speaking with a woman and she was telling me how she wanted her sister to get away from this toxic man that she knew that wasn't right. And they were arguing. To make a long story short, the sister was murdered, gunned down from being with this man. So that ended very tragically and very sad. But to hear something like that was really a life changer for me. Just to sit and hear the story of how a woman was involved and set up, involved with a toxic man, and being involved with him ended her life. So be mindful, be careful with that out there, you guys. You never know who's into what or what's going on. This is something that we want to just keep at the forefront. A lot of times your friends are not going to say, hey, help me. I don't know how to get away from this person. They're not going to say that. They're just going to be living in the day to day. But the best thing to do is to make sure that you try to be as much of a friend to that person, because now you're on the side. And sometimes those toxic men, they are able to take control. Every woman has had a friend who dated a guy who was clearly bad news, but she couldn't resist. Maybe that friend was you, and yet, despite all the warning and red flags, you continued on in the relationship. This is something that you want to try to take heed to and realize, like, hey, this is not healthy. This is not good. If you're ever catch yourself in a relationship and you finding on a day-to-day regular basis that you are not happy, that is not healthy as well. Things like that cause cancer. You can research that. Just holding things on the inside and having all this happen, it can actually build up, and well, it doesn't cause cancer though, but I'm just saying, you want to make sure that you're mindful of that. They say bad boys free people from the pressure of being a good girl. Like if you've been that type that's always been considered a good girl, dating a bad guy can make you feel so much more better, and it's not okay. But I just want to say to you out there, if you have any friends, reach out to your friend. If it doesn't work this time, then it's okay to let that friendship go as well. There are more fish in the sea, and that's the truth. But in the meantime, if you're hooked up and you're in cahoots with someone that you know is not good for you, just look at your life like this. If you, from the day that you met this person, you were, if you're in the same position from the day that you first met that man, that's not a good relationship. I'm sorry to tell you that. And you might need to look into getting into a new one or just being by yourself for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? You should not be still at plan A from when you met this person. If you have not slid to even plan B, something is wrong. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday.